know you see me with my cup of coffee, but this is not actually coffee and conversations. It just happens to be morning, and I have a cup of coffee every morning. But this is straight talk, okay? So we're gonna have some real conversation this morning, all right? We're gonna talk about 3 countries: the Gambia, Nigeria, and Benin Republic, okay? All right, next, let's get into Nigeria. Hated it. You can't handle the truth. This is probably going to be my shortest segment because I didn't like Nigeria, not one little bit. I didn't like it. Okay? And I don't care who gets mad about it. Again, as I said in the beginning, this is my experience. It's what I witnessed or personally experienced, okay? So I'm just going to stick as close to the facts as possible so that I'm not giving emotion, all right? So I was in Nigeria for approximately 3.5 months, 3 months and like a week. And I went to 3 states in Nigeria. I was primarily in River State, but I also went to Imo State and I also went to Lagos State, okay? They are very different. However, in general, I did not care for Nigeria. I'm sorry. And I'll address some of the whys a bit more at the end. As I said, I'm going to get into some things that you might not expect, but that are about knowing yourself in relationship to a place. Nigeria didn't meet my needs. And Nigeria carries a very different energy. It is not laid back like the Gambia. It's a very aggressive place. It's a very aggressive place, and not in a good way. It's extremely corrupt. Now, that's not to say that every Nigerian on the ground is a corrupt person. That's not at all what I'm saying. But the systems that are in place are extremely corrupt. The visa process is absolutely horrendous. It is horrendous. The amount of documentation you have to have, the things that you have to produce, their systems do not work. And they use their failing systems as a vehicle to be further corrupt. They do have a visa on arrival process, but you are supposed to upload your documents into their system ahead of time, right? So that when you arrive, you're already in the system, right? And then you go to the line for the visa on arrival. However, let's jump straight to the power situation in Nigeria. It is also horrendous. You could not have convinced me that NEPA would be worse than NAWEC. Honey, if I tell you NEPA is NAWEC's evil sister, okay? That power is down 6 to 8, sometimes 10 hours in any given day, every single day. I spent almost the entire 3 months in the dark. It tanked my business. It tanked my mood and emotions. It tanked everything. You're literally in the dark. You can't do nothing. You have to learn how to do everything manually. If you are a person who works online, has a business online, any of those things, you will not make it in Nigeria. It's also not easy to get things because of the sort of built-in corruption. It's very difficult to get the simplest of things. For example, switching over your cell phone. In the Gambia and many other countries, if you just simply have an unlocked phone or you purchase a local phone when you arrive, you can go to any vendor anywhere and get a SIM card and boom, you've got a phone. Not in Nigeria. You have to have all of your documentation. Even Nigerians, you have to take your, you have to go and get your NIN card, your NIN card, which is equivalent to our Social Security card. You have to have that, and you have to have all of your appropriate documents verifying who you are, and then you can purchase a SIM card that is attached to your name, and then you can have a phone. You can get a phone, but you can't, it won't come up in your name unless you buy. So then there's a whole black market where you buy an already registered SIM card, but it's in somebody else's name, which also causes a problem because they do OPay, this mobile money, MTN, Momo, that sort of thing, right? But if you have a SIM card that's not in your name, then that banking is also not in your name. It creates so much problems, like it's so much problems. And it's exhausting. It's really exhausting in Nigeria just trying to exist and accomplish the smallest things. In certain areas, there's also huge safety issues. It's rarely discussed, but I'm going to say it because this is straight talk. Kidnapping. Kidnapping is a thing in certain regions in Nigeria. That's right. People get kidnapped. Not just foreigners. Now, it can happen more easily to foreigners because you're more easily identifiable. I'm clearly not a Nigerian, which put me at risk. But it's not just foreigners, right? There are Nigerians who get kidnapped, sometimes unalived, okay? Because there is this belief that if you have traveled abroad, lived abroad, that you somehow now also equate to foreigner. And that means money, okay? Anybody that they think has money can be a victim. It's true. I don't care who's mad at it. It's true. So I was not freely able to just walk outside, go for a walk down the street without an escort, without somebody going with me, without having protection, without, I could not just walk freely because people, you can actually get snatched off the street and held for ransom. And sometimes even if they get the ransom, they will still, it's true, right? And so, it just wasn't a good thing. Now, my husband and I are and have been moving into our calling in ministry, the ministry of helps. We not the in the pulpit type of ministers. I'm not having Sunday service and preaching to you, right? But we live a life before God. We believe the Bible says that the work is plenty, but the laborers are few. We are the laborers. We are the doers of the word, meaning we are community activists. We embrace our call to the ministry of helps. So there was an occurrence in Nigeria where we ended up intervening in a big melee and saving a young girl's life. That really happened. I wrote about it on Facebook. It really happened, okay? But as a result, the word got out on the street that that man and his American wife were the savior of that girl, and it kind of put a target on our backs. That's true. okay? This is straight talk. You need to know, all right? Please watch this video all the way to the end. Please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot coming here. I want to now insert a little bit of a thought here, because there are many people who have traveled to Nigeria or plan to travel to Nigeria, and they're like, I love Nigeria, I had a great time. Yes, you may have had a great time, but we're moving different. We're called different. This is the reason I bring this up now. The first thing you need to know is that visiting a place as a tourist is an extremely different thing, different experience than living day to day in a place. That's true even in America. I used to live in LA, and we were annoyed with the tourists that came and were taking their time counting the stars on Hollywood Boulevard and all of that stuff. And we were like, would you move? We got to go to work. When you live and work in a place, when you live there day to day and you have to go about your business, you got to go to the market, you got to do things. Tourists kind of get on your nerves a little bit because their existence is different. They're on vacation. It's a very different experience. So if you went to Nigeria on vacation, you may have in fact had a lovely time. Most people that come to Nigeria on vacation, they're going to end up in Lagos, the nicer part of Lagos, right? They're going to stay in a high quality place. They're going to those places, because they're tourist places. Those places are going to make certain that they have backup generators. They have the things you need to give you the best tourist experience. You're going to be there for a few weeks, maybe even a month or longer, but you're still living a tourist experience. And then you're going to fly back to the US. That's very different. One of the things that someone told me when I went to Gambia was, Phoenix, learn how to live local. I didn't know how much that was going to be a pinnacle point to the life that God was moving me into. And so my husband and I don't move around like tourists. We don't live a tourist life. We live a local life, no matter what country we go to, because we are called to community service, which means you have to be in the community of people. You have to move like the community moves. You have to have the same experience. This is what bonds you to people. So when we travel by road. We're not hopping on planes yet. But when we travel, we're traveling local transport. We're traveling the way locals travel. I've been on the local boats going across the water. I've been on every form of ground transportation you can imagine. I have been on roads that look like, any of y'all ever watch the worst roads of whatever country series on YouTube? Go on YouTube and look at Google, search on worst roads, right? They have them for every country, all type of countries all over the world, right? But if you watch those videos and see the way those vehicles are moving and going through these big potholes and going through the muds and barely making it and trekking across, that's how we're moving. That's how we're going. The way I move is not the way most Americans would even begin to travel. There's a reason for that, because it's about the calling on my life and my husband's life. It's about the work in ministry that we're called to do. And so we move the way locals move. Okay? If a Nigerian is leaving Nigeria coming to, say, Benin Republic, they're not coming on a plane. Most are not. They're not coming on a plane. They're coming by land. They're going through all of the police checkpoints. They're going through the border patrols. That's how we travel. Okay? I want to make that very clear, because I also need you to know that my experience is going to be very different than a lot of people's experience, unless you are called to the type of experiences that I've been called to. Okay? So when I say visiting and traveling to a place as a tourist is an extremely different experience than living in a place, that's what I mean. Okay? So if I'm giving Nigeria a rank from 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 3. And the 3 is because I did meet nice people there. There are amazing, wonderful people in Nigeria. I love the way Nigerians like to have fun. I love Nigerian food. So, if I'm listening to music, I love Nigerian music. And that includes, when I say Nigerian music, one of the things I really, can I say really enough times? I really love about Nigerian music is that God is infused in everything. So even when you're in a club, so to speak, even when you're listening to music that's in the local language, and I would ask my husband to translate, he would say, do you know what they're saying? And I'm like, no, honey, I don't know what they're saying. Please explain it to me. They're talking about the goodness of God. They're talking about what's happened in life. They're talking about what's happening in the government. They're talking about life and lifestyle. Nigerian music is meaningful. It has depth to it. It has root to it, and substance. So that I love. So the good points, the few good points that I give Nigeria, it's about the interactions, the people that I've met, and it's about the good food, and it's about the beauty of the country. It is a beautiful place. River State is especially green. So looking out over the verandas and things like that, you see this green, lush foliage and view. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Okay, so that's why I give it the rank that I do, but it fails. I was surprised that as developed as it is, it's a big place. It's developed. The roads are nice, right? Almost every place is paved, but everything else, life in Nigeria is hard. It's hard for most of the people that live there. That's why they are really focused on Japa, leaving. That's why they're so enamored with Americans and foreigners, because they see us as their means of escape. And that is very troubling, right? It makes me sad because the corruption of the government has not done its job to take care of its people. I'm a foreigner. I can choose to leave. But most of the Nigerians who live in their own country and suffer daily cannot just pick up and leave. They have to find a way to deal with it. They have to find a way to exist. And in some cases, they have to pick negative means. I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm not giving any excuse or justification for the lower level crimes, for the Yahoo boys, for the 419 scammers. I'm not giving any justification for that or giving them a pass. But what I am saying is that though it's not right, there's a part of me that understands. So there you have it. I'm going to give Nigeria a 3 out of 10. Okay? I hope this episode was helpful to somebody, and I invite you guys to join me for part 3 because, baby, I have got some exciting news to share with you about the Republic of Benin. I am loving it here, and I can't wait to give you the best of news.